Alright, so today I'm back in again with another Shows I Watch as a Kid episode. So if you're confused as to why I'm talking about PBS Kids again when I already did back in 2019, I'll explain. Since I watched a lot, and I mean a lot, of young kid shows growing up across 5 different program networks, it will be too much to talk about all of them in just under like 5 episodes. So they will be talked about in batches, meaning that the pattern goes PBS Kids, Sprout, Disney Junior, Nick Jr., and the Hub Network, but it was only for that one installment. Now that we've already crossed out the Hub Network last episode, as I didn't want to watch like a whole lot of shows on there. So now we're talking about PBS Kids, but this is sadly the last video talking about PBS Kids shows, since there's only really 2 batches that I've seen of PBS Kids shows. I don't really like some of the newer stuff, you know, like I think it's kind of weird, you know. I very much prefer, basically, like, the longer, like, a program network goes on keeping its Renaissance shows, the more, like, the more the shows start to become, like, really less interesting, because, like, now all you see on Disney Junior is just, like, Doc McStuffins, you know, like, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, or Mickey Mouse and the Roadster Racer, Mickey and the Roadster Racers, and then Nick Jr., all you see is, like, just Team Umizoomi and stuff. It doesn't even look like Nick Jr. anymore, so, like, basically, yeah. But PBS Kids, it's doing okay. I still check it out from time to time. Arthur, it's still going on. Can you believe that, like, the last season is next month? That's insane. It's like, it's been a long time since, like, the show first started, and now it's about to end. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Okay, but now, let's get back to the PBS Kids shows. I talk this here. Alright, so, PBS Kids was a TV network for teaching kids about math, science, and most importantly, reading and literature. There were quite a few shows focused on teaching kids how to read and learn about words. So the following shows will be the shows focusing about reading and literature. So let's start talking about more PBS Kids shows I watched as a kid. Let's go. Okay, let's start off with a show called Martha Speaks. So, you probably have heard of this one. Martha Speaks was a show about a talking yellow dog named Martha. Basically, each episode would be about like a usual, you know, like TV show episode. It wasn't really centered all around words. But throughout each episode, a character would probably like, no, like what does that word mean? And then basically like, and then like another character there would just like explain what the word means. Like, you know, like, because oh my god, what does incident mean? And then like the character and then another character would be like, oh yeah, incident means like a bad thing or whatever, but like kind of like in a way it makes sense, you know. Basically, it was indirectly teaching kids what certain words mean while also sticking to the slice of life theme that also pops up in a lot of the other shows we're going to be talking about. Just watch an episode to see what I'm talking about, you know. Also, I forgot to I want to mention Martha Speaks was actually like a book series, but from what I remember, I don't think it was like cartoony, just like the show, more just like a show about Martha, and that's just it. Yeah. So anyway, Martha Speaks was a good show, so it gets a 4 out of 5. Okay, the next show I'll be talking about is Word World. It's kind of hard to say as the 2 words are so similar in phrasing. They're literally like 1 word different. There's only like a 1 word difference. Okay, anyway, Word World was a show about talking animals, and before you say how generic that is, and trust me, I know, but let me explain. So first of all the characters' names were just what animal they were, so there were names like duck, cat, kangaroo, and etc. Also, since the show is called Word World, there are letters scattered all across the location of the show, and whenever a character puts them next to each other to create like a word, it will automatically morph into the word. So like, let's say you wanted like a cake or something. You take letters C-A-K-E, and you put them next to each other, and bam, you have a cake now. It's kind of cool, you know. Imagine the power people would have if that like is able to happen in real life, you know. The show was also kind of like, I mean, kind of self-aware. There was a narrator in the show, and sometimes the characters would randomly, out of the blue, just interact with the narrator, kind of like with no rhyme or reason. It's pretty good, but like, you know, it's also kind of weird. Also, something that I just found out is that one of the voice actors for the show was Veronica Taylor, who you may know as the first original English voice actor for Ash Ketchum in the Pokemon anime. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Especially since she previously worked for one of the most popular animes of all time, you know. Literally, go look it up. Word World was a pretty good show. Very educational. Like, well, definitely one of my favorites growing up. It gets a 5 out of 5. Okay, so up next is Word Girl. Like Word World. This show was also sort of, well, actually majorly there was a lot of self-awareness in it. There was also a narrator, there was also a narrator that would sometimes interact with the characters. The show was also like Martha Speaks in a way, but unlike that, where they were just a selection of words to find, Word Girl specifically mentioned 2 words throughout the episode, and then in that episode, probably like take some time to like define what those words mean. So like, yeah, and then yeah, like 10 seconds. It's kind of quick. It doesn't really take up a whole lot of time for the episode. It's kind of bizarre, really, The character Word Girl is a superhero who goes by the same name, but is secretly a girl named Becky Botsford. And apparently everyone's too stupid to, like, connect the dots together and, like, find out that, like, Becky and Word Girl are, like, the same person. You have to pay attention pay attention, characters. Each episode focuses on Word Girl, like, finding a villain, and some of them are kind of questionable. There was the butcher, who was a butcher who was also a bank robber. It's okay. There was Mr. Big, a big businessman who can mind control people with his like new like things and products, like. Then there was everyone's favorite Word Girl villain, Chuck the evil sandwich making guy. Top tier name right there. Academy Award. Also, in between each episode, there was like this little segment called "May I Have a Word." It was sort of like a little like in-show game show where 3 kids try to guess the meaning of a certain word by looking at a selection of pictures given to them. Then they'll get like a prize depending on whether or not they won or not, and they guessed it right. And then they will go to the bonus round and probably get another prize if they get it right or wrong. I don't know. And that's all I can say about Word Girl. It's a pretty good show and definitely deserves more love. Like, when researching this show, I was like thinking, wow, Word Girl was a good show. So I looked up some episodes and I had a blast, So yeah, I really can't say anything more, but definitely go watch it. It's a 5 out of 5. Alright, so last show for today is one you've probably heard of. It is Super Why. It's definitely like one of the most it was definitely like one of the biggest ones in terms of like the modern like PBS Kids shows. Like before, like they just like took off all their like old shows in favor of replacing them with like newer, more like modern shows. Like Molly of Denali. Wildcrats is still going, so technically it is modern, and like Arthur is not done yet. But the next season is like, but like the last season is like next month. That's crazy. So yeah. Okay, so basically, Super Why was a show about this kid named Wyatt GI One, where they got that name from, who has this little clubhouse, I think, for him and his friends, to like go in and like do stuff, I guess. In every episode, Wyatt. I just not realized how like weird that name is, Wyatt, or okay, so basically Wyatt or one of his friends, have a problem that like needs help solving. So they hop into their vehicles. Yes, they have those, but it's like kid-friendly vehicles, and they're kind of like hovercrafts in a way, and go inside of storybooks and fairy tales to find the answer to their problems. Now that I'm saying that out loud, the plot really does sound very weird, like really weird. Like, oh my god. Wyatt's friends include Little Red Riding Hood, like the Little Red Riding Hood, the Princess P, or more like the daughter of Princess P. It's really hard, like the whole generacy and like the whole reference and the descendants and ancestors and the lore. I don't know. It doesn't really expand upon them. These characters just exist in the show, And also there was one of the pigs from the 3 Little Pigs, I think. Yeah. Basically, each of his friends were a character from an already existing fairy tale. Alright, so each of Wyatt's friends as well had as well as himself had their own special power. Like, Little Pig had the power to use the alphabet to create objects out of thin air. I can leave a sign, you just get like SIGN. There you go, you have a sign. Little Red Riding Hood has the power to change things into other stuff, but only if the 2 words rhyme. So in a situation where 2 words don't rhyme, she's pretty much useless. Princess P can also use the alphabet to create objects. So she's kind of pointless considering that we already have someone who can do that. Now, what's Wyatt's power, I hear you asking? Well, Wyatt has the power to change the ending of a storybook they are in, because by pure coincidence, all the books they jump into have a bad ending, apparently. Okay, that's kind of weird. Throughout the episodes, some red letters would appear, and Wyatt would store them digitally on like his computer phone thingy, whatever. I don't know what's called. Is it? It's like the new iPhone 13. Yeah, at the end of the episode, Wyatt would unscramble the letters to reveal the message to solve the problem of the episode. Another thing I liked was how like the theme song is absolutely bumping. Like seriously, go listen to it, and hopefully you'll be jamming out to it. I can't play it in this video because of copyright reasons, and because I'm like this is a kid's YouTube channel. I think it will be good for the algorithm, if you know what I mean. So Super Wyatt, really good show. Definitely not perfect, but still a really good part of my childhood. Gets a 4 out of 5. It's kind of cringe when I look back on it, but it's still pretty good. Really good of like the terms of like probably like one of the best from like the more modern PBS Kids shows. All right, next video, the end of PBS Kids will be about possibly the darkest show on PBS Kids, which is pretty surprising when you say it out loud. You know, I'm thinking, oh, well, PBS Kids and Dark, it's entirely made for kids. Oh, I wonder what that could be. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that was stupid. So, that show, you may ask, is Liberty's Kids. You probably never heard of it, or maybe you have heard of it, and you're thinking, what? That's the darkest show? I don't get it. I hope you all will enjoy it, and I'll explain why it's dark in that video. Alright, thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out Puzzle Shuffle, as well as check out my Demoner and my Twitter. The links are in the description. I also want you to share this video with your friends, and by doing all those 3 things, you're helping me a lot to reach 1,000 subscribers. I will see you guys next time.